And now an integral part of our strategy is we talk to reporters, often a few days in advance of when we're going to publish something, and say, we've got a report on so-and-so, would you be interested? And we do sometimes some pre-publication interviews so that people who want to work through our full report can get their questions answered, or want to take our material and then maybe talk to other experts. I know Professor Anderson has, from time to time, been asked to comment on our studies. It's always interesting to see your quotes on our work. But we also now think about social media efforts to make sure we're driving the story. So at the moment of publication, we do a lot of tweeting. And we find that there are usually two main sources of the initial wave of traffic to our report. It's people finding the report through the mainstream media coverage of it, and it's people finding it through our tweets. We also have an extensive email list and stuff like that, and we send out, anybody who signs up can get notified when we publish new findings, and we find that those publications also drive the initial wave of coverage. But then we have a very wonderful Facebook page, and we post on that, and there's a second wave of coverage that comes from people sharing or referring to the Facebook coverage. And then the long tail, oftentimes we get sustained interest in a bunch of our projects, and that comes from search. So we have to be really smart about search optimization and how we position things. This really fun report that we just issued. This Americans' Views on Mobile Etiquette. We had a long debate inside our offices about literally what the title should be. What are the most likely search queries that will drive attention to this work? Really fun, interesting piece of work about how people use their cell phones, especially their smartphones, both in public places, so they use it walking down the street, in buses, in stores, and stuff like that, and how do they use it in social situations? Do they, when they're in social gatherings, do they use their phone? Do they stop paying attention to the group that they're with? Do they pick a picture of the group and post it and things like that? So there's a really fun report to do, and my initial title of this report, when I handed it in for final review by my bosses, was Civility in the Digital Age. Very serious sounding subject. I like the word civility. It sort of spoke to these issues of etiquette, but it had a little higher tone to it, and I thought that that would seem to be sort of a little more serious-minded and stuff. So actually, we studied search query terms. You can go and get Google Trends on search query terms. Nobody searches for the word civility. They search for the word etiquette and the word manners. So we chose this title because we thought it was the most search-friendly, because being findable in Google is an amazingly important part of our work, particularly, as I say, in that long tail area, say a week after publication, where people are still interested in our reports from a couple of years ago or even longer ago than that. Some of the 10-year-old reports we did in the Imagining the Internet work are still being cited because people can find them. We didn't even think as much as we probably should have about the titles used in those, but they were pretty good and pretty searchable and pretty findable, and folks were able to find them. And so we're thinking that we had to think a lot about how do we make sure that we are using keyword type phrases that people will reference in their work. So that was an interesting part of our work.